So one of our viewers suggested that, or asked me even, that I take a look at the business foundation, the business starter template in Webflow, and what would I change about that to start falling in line with what we've been talking about the last few days. And I took at the template, and there's actually a lot you can do with that starter template. So what I'm going to do is kind of go through the template and change things as I would expect them to be in a HTML project, and then I can kind of go through my rationale and thinking whilst I do it. So I will just create a new project right now. I'd like to be able to make it so that it's shareable. So I'm going to name this foundation, and I'll probably put a link to this in the description. Here we have the main page here. So the first thing, just take a look at the layout. Go away. Okay. So the first thing I'll look at is the navigation. I'll just work from top to bottom really. And if I open this and just sort of take a look at how it's broken up, this is a link to, I guess, a contact section on the page somewhere. This is kind of a menu, and then so all this I would say is like the main navigation, all of these things. But of course we want to we want to make sure that this is also in a header. So I can see that we can't change that in there. So what I'll do is I will make that a header, and then within there I'll add another div, and then make that the nav, and then pop all these inside of that. So there's a bit of craziness going on here. If I just take a look at what might be happening. There we go. So just spacing them out. Maybe I'll do yeah. So there we go. So in that example, I've wrapped each of these in a main navigation, because that's the main navigation, and then they're all wrapped in a header. So I think that's kind of done for now. Just take a look. Navigation, that's a menu button. Okay, that's fine. You could be tempted to make this into a nav, and then that, just change the wrapping div into a header. That could also be fine, I guess. But then these are also, navigation items as well. So that's why I chose to do that. The important thing to remember, there's not hard and fast rule for everything. There's always, negotiation or thinking to happen when you try and decide which tags to use and all the rest of it. Sometimes it can cause a little bit of a debate, but I think do the best that you can, and that's all you can ask for really. So with this section, I know there's always these sections, but I'm only seeing 2 here. So, the first thing I'm going to do is just create a main and move that below their heading, and then just move those into the, come on BB, move that, and then if I go to the CTA, yeah, that's part of the main content. Whack those all in a main. If I open this out, so there's a container here, so I probably want to pull that out. It doesn't change the style or anything like that, and it just makes it a little bit easier to see. So we'll start with this hero section here. So the first thing I noticed that this isn't a H1, it's just a text element. I don't really know why that's not a H1. Again, we could have some keywords in there or something, I don't know, but I would definitely suggest this be the H1. So we'll just copy the text into there. We will give it a class of heading jumbo, just to maintain that, and you can see they look exactly the same. Delete that, we've got ourselves a heading. The other thing is we've now introduced a heading, so we're gonna naturally add that section in here. And now we have ourselves a hero section that's semantic. Intro header, intro content, cool. And then the next part we've got there is just this whole other section. Probably going to break all this out because that's all part of the same section. You know, if these were all grouped under another header, then I might keep them all together or something like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them out. Oh, it's a divider. Take them out. So we're losing. So I think they need that section, that container there, just to keep them out. Makes it a little bit harder to see the sections, but you know, it reduces the amount of HTML by keeping them under one section. So what do we have here? We have the motto wrap. Cool. Now, what we believe in could be a header. I think that could be a header. I can't see why that shouldn't be a header. So again, let's just add a heading in there. Okay. Match the styles. So what have we got? We've got these two, label and CC light. Label and CC light. Here we go. Now we can remove that and change this to a H2. Once again, we have a new section now, so let's make that into a section. And there we go. Next divider. Now we've got this home content wrap. Let's dip into here. We've got a div block here, got another here. So what are these? These are, I think these could be sections too. I mean, thinking ahead, I think these could be sections. So make that into a section, make that into a section. We go into here, got the content here, and we have that H2. So this bit's interesting because this could be the heading. It's in the about section, and then within the about section this could be a H2, and then this could be a H3. But on second thought, you know, there's not really anything in the about section. So if we had a paragraph text or a bit of content in the about section, then I would say that, but we're jumping right into this who we are part. So I'm happy to kind of leave that as a H2. Yeah, and progress on with that. So all we've done is make that into a section. This is exactly the same layout, so we'll make that into a section. That's fine. And then here we go, we could jump into this section. And we have the collection of blogs with our H2, which I'm fine with. Again, you know, about us is a bit more of a bit better section, because we've got about, thinking about, I'm just trying to match up these links with the sections basically. So blog, this is the about us thing. I guess company news is the blog. I think these are just maybe just to look good. I don't think these are probably meant to be used. So we've got the company news, which is the blog. I would potentially match those up just for UX really. Team, about, and then work just does not exist. So maybe this could be blog. That would make sense to be blog, to be fair. But you know, they've labelled it as team about, yeah. And it's only work that's not really in existence right now. But Yeah, I would be tempted to make this into a H2. You know what? I'm going to do it. H2. And then if I remember rightly, it was label and CC light. There we go. We have a H2. And then this could be, you know, yeah, why not make this into a H3? So it's made it a little bit smaller there, so what I'm going to do is just double check that. Make that bigger. Let's make it into 40. Whoops, it's 400. Okay, let's just do that. So we've got a blog section, and again, this is a section. So let's do that. Let's make this into a section because it's wrapping all of that content. Section, and now we come into here and let's see what these are. Preview wrap, business article. So, blog post. So I'll be tempted to add an article here because these are indeed important things. And business article. So this is interesting because this is technically the heading, but it's also a link. So Webflow doesn't allow you to do this, but it doesn't allow you to have a link within a heading. So I don't know, I guess I'm happy to leave those as links. At least the most important thing is that you can click through to them, but in some ways I would expect you to be able to click through into that. Or you'd have like a read more button or something like that, because then that's more of a logical call to action and you want to read more. I could imagine someone expecting to be able to tap on this whole area and go through to that article. So that's just my opinion anyway. So so that's a label and that's whatever. So there we go. We've wrapped those in an article, and we could have that as a H1, but without getting too nerdy, that's not a finalized kind of spec yet. So I'd probably just make it into like a H3 or something. And then status message, I don't know what that is. No items found. Oh, that's when there's nothing. That's the default. Cool. So we have that section highlighted with articles, then the CTA section. Again, another section. Doesn't matter, I mean, when you're marking stuff up, doesn't matter how high up the section is, as long as you've got divs here. They're not doing anything, they're not harming anyone, so it's okay. I like to have them quite close so you can just sort of see the, like I'd also be tempted just to make it there, but as this is called section, we might as well just make that into a section. Final one now is, again, that's just a piece of text. So this is a heading, and it's probably a heading 2. And it says grow your business, And it's the same size, so you don't have to worry about that. And there we go. And then the footer. Let's have a look, double click the footer. Yeah, that's not a footer, so let's make that into a section. Make that into a footer. And then we have the footer wrap and all the rest of it. Cool. So that's how I would have probably done this. I mean, the design didn't change at all. I just changed the markup, changed the I changed the kind of structure so it's a little bit easier to see. Yeah. What was going through my mind there is, could this go out there? But no, this is kind of all main content, and then we're adding a bit of styling on these middle bits here. And then, yeah. Could that go in there? Is the other thing? No, it's got a double thing. Again, like what I'm looking to do now is again, just cleaning stuff up, because it just irritates me that there's so much inside of there. It just feels like unnecessary code, but you know, it's fairly clean as it is. So that's kind of it, and I hope that was helpful, because I think we've put into practice a lot of the things we've discussed up until this point: headings, landmarks, sectioning elements, and things like that. So yeah, thanks so much for the suggestion of making something like this. I think it was very useful to have something practical and kind of for me to vocalize what's going through my head whilst I'm going through a website. If I'm doing a code review with someone, these are the things that will go through my head, and I'll make sure that all the HTML is correct. I guess one thing we could have done, you know, I don't think this is the strictest, is just to put this into a header. You know, let's just demonstrate that for now. We could have just gone boom and made that into a header, and then popped that in there and that in there, and there we go, we have a header. Could have done that, and then this is in the footer, but I'm not too I'm not too strict on that particular one, but it's good to highlight what we could have done. Right, all right, I'll end it there, and I hope that you guys have learned a little bit so far from all the lessons I've been doing and from doing this. Until next time, happy no coding.